Okay, so have you ever, tried to share your favorite childhood book with a kid, all excited and nostalgic, and they just give you this blank
Oh,
stare?
yeah, I've been there. It's like they'd rather stare at a wall.
Right. So frustrating. It's like trying to convince them broccoli is a delicacy.
At least with broccoli, you can dip it in cheese.
Bleh. Ah. Okay, so today we're diving into some expert advice that might actually turn those blank stares into one more chapter, please. We're talking 5 tips for encouraging a love of reading in your child. You with me?
Let's do it. I'm all about turning those shrugs into page turns.
Love it. Okay, so first up, daily reading. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
It sounds simple, but there's a lot more to it than just like sounding out words.
Exactly. So help us unpack this a little. Why is that shared reading time so crucial beyond just, learning the alphabet?
Well, imagine this. You and your child snuggle up with a good book. Maybe there's a warm blanket involved. The lights are dimmed a little. It's calming.
Definitely. Cozy vibes.
And that feeling, that sense of connection and security, it starts to weave itself into their perception of reading.
It's like you're not just building reading skills, you're building positive associations with the whole experience.
Precisely. And think about those pauses you take while you're reading. You ask questions, what do you think will happen next? Or what would you do if you were that character?
All those little conversations that pop up naturally.
Right. Those are mini lessons in language development, critical thinking, even empathy, all wrapped up in a nice, engaging package.
Love how it's not just about the words on the page, it's about the connection being built around the book, which I guess leads perfectly into the next tip choice.
Ah, yes. Giving those little bookworms some autonomy.
I am all about letting kids choose their own adventures, literary or otherwise. Why is that so important, that freedom to choose?
Well, think about it this way. Have you ever been forced to do something you really didn't want to do?
Ugh, don't remind me. Let's just say I'm very familiar with the concept of required reading back from my school days.
And how much did you enjoy those books that were assigned versus the ones you picked out yourself?
Okay, good point. So when kids choose, they're invested.
Exactly. It's intrinsic motivation. They're not reading because they have to. They're reading because they want to. And that makes all the difference. Plus, when children get to pick their own books, they're more likely to gravitate toward topics they genuinely find interesting. Right?
It becomes a journey of self-discovery. They're like little explorers charting their own course through the world of books. Okay, next up, making reading fun.
Ooh, this is a big one.
I get very into this one. I mean, what's the point of a good story if you're not going to milk those dramatic moments? Different voices for different characters, sound effects, the whole shebang.
I love that. And while being a voice actor isn't a requirement, you've actually hit on something really important. It's about creating a richer sensory experience.
Okay, so explain that a little more. How does going all out theatrical help kids actually learn and engage with the story?
Well, our brains are wired to remember experiences that involve multiple senses.
So it's like creating a 3D experience out of something that's flat on the page.
Exactly. Those silly voices, those dramatic pauses, they might seem like just fun and games.
Which, let's be honest, they are.
For sure. But they're also creating these vivid memories that help solidify the story in a child's mind.
Makes sense. All right, next tip, creating a dedicated reading space. Is that really necessary?
Absolutely. Think of it this way. We all have spaces where we feel most comfortable and focused.
Right. Like my favorite coffee shop. Noise-canceling headphones on, latte in hand, pure writing bliss.
Exactly. Environment cues our brain to shift into a certain mode. So for a child, a cozy reading nook filled with their favorite books sends a clear message. This is a place for stories.
It's their own little bookworm haven. No distractions, just pure literary immersion. Okay, last tip, and this one is Hugh GE being a reading role model.
This one's often overlooked, but it's so powerful.
It seems so simple, so passive, and yet there's something about seeing the adults in your life genuinely enjoying a book.
Exactly. Children are hardwired to mimic, to learn by observing. So when they see you, the parent, the caregiver, the cool aunt or uncle, choosing to read,
Not because it's an assignment.
but for pure pleasure, it normalizes reading. It becomes something people do, something people enjoy, not just something they have to do for school.
It's a silent endorsement of the entire activity.
Wow. So to sum it up for our listeners today, if you want to raise a reader, think beyond the book itself, make it a shared experience full of warmth, fun, and personal choice.
Make those memories. build that connection.
And maybe, just maybe, ditch the broccoli comparisons.
Now you're talking.
This has been fantastic. Thanks for diving into these tips with me.
Anytime. Now go forth and inspire those little bookworms.